Hello, my name is Joseph Carlson, and this is episode 260 of Gaming with Grief. And this episode may be a little bit shorter, but I'm actually going to make some announcements. Um, so, you know, don't worry, the nothing's going away. I'm doing a new kind of segment or profile, I guess, in the podcast. If you don't know, there's been a lot of news this year and late last year about studio closures, people losing their jobs. Recently, it came to my attention that Take Two, the company that owns Grand Theft Auto, that makes billions of dollars over the life of it, especially Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, it's Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on what, the 360 PS3 generation. They ported to PS5. GTA Online makes millions of dollars. The game sold, I think, 90 to 100 million copies. And anyway, Take Two, the parent company that makes oodles and oodles of money, has decided to close some studios. One of them was a Seattle-based company that made Kerbal Space Program. I actually have their info up right here. Let me see if I can find it. They Take Two shuttered a Seattle-based studio. Um, uh, oh, it's a private division publishing wing. But I'm trying to see the name of the studio. Intercept Games was in Seattle. So Intercept Games was in Seattle. They will be closed. They made Kerbal Space Program 2. I actually have to write that down because that's part of one of the things I'm going to announce. But they also closed down UK developer Roll 7, who is known for Ollie Ollie games. They were like skateboarding games, very fun. Not really that familiar with them, but they did come into my radar in a game called Roller Drum, which was their last game they made before they were closed. Take Two decided to close them, and this one I have on, I think, Xbox, as part of Game Pass, and I want to play it. So I'm going to do a new thing for the pod called In Memoriam, which basically I'm going to go through and kind of highlight the last games that the studios were able to produce, just to let you know. Roll 7, who made Roller Drum, won a BAFTA, which is like a prestigious British award for movies, television, video games, as I understand it. And they won an award. And so apparently it sold well, from what I can tell, looking online and doing some web searches. But then, with all this news of close down and shutterings and all that kind of stuff, what constitutes success? Nobody knows anymore. And especially for these developers, I'm not going to go over the whole thing. Avin and I went over a lot of it a few weeks ago. But actually, some things changed. Basically, if you don't know, in the news, Microsoft closed 3 studios and absorbed another one into support teams for Elder Scrolls Online. And one of the games, Tango Gameworks, which is another game that I'll be doing a thing of, was called Hi-Fi Rush. It won several awards. One of the I believe he either worked at the studio or whatever, put on Twitter, put a picture of all the awards that Hi-Fi Rush had won, and basically said this isn't enough. So, in fact, Aaron Greenberg of Microsoft tweeted out after, there's some questioning of, like, what do you guys consider a success? Since Hi-Fi Rush is on Game Pass, what did it sell? Aaron Greenberg, who's one of the big heads of Microsoft, said, we considered it a success. It broke every one of our internal metrics. We had 4 million unique players, which is something that I've been thinking about lately with this idea. Nobody wants to share sales data anymore. And because everything's a streaming service, they don't really have to. But if you think about it, this happened, and I've said this before, this happened to Netflix, all the streaming services, Hulu. They stopped recording successes and just talked about engagement. But that's fine to a degree. But if you already had a pool of people that are getting something for effectively free, you're already charging them a service fee, how do you grow that? Microsoft itself mentioned that in several earnings that Game Pass is kind of plateauing. Everybody that has Game Pass wants Everybody that wants Game Pass has Game Pass. So how are you as a developer meant to, grow and I mean that's the thing too, is like with these awards and the plaudits that these studios have gotten and closures, I guess it's not enough. So you need the sales data. So there's been a lot of talk. Obviously, I'm kind of plugged in. I've been listening to a lot of gaming podcasts, stuff like that. But I'm so sad for these developers, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this new segment called In Memoriam, because the idea is to highlight the last thing that these studios did. I don't know if I'm going to. I do want to beat some of these. I mean, they've been on my radar for a long time. If it's reasonable, obviously, I'm still doing other reviews for the pod. But like Kerbal Space Program, I don't know if you launch rockets and stuff. Do you beat that game, or is it just like, hey, I launched everything and everything worked out well, great? I'll definitely see if I could try that. I do want to play Roller Drum. I heard there's a lot of interesting story stuff in there, and if it's reasonable to beat it, I will. But I really want to. In Hi-Fi Rush, obviously, is on Game Pass, and just looking at, like, if you look at a trailer for Hi-Fi Rush, it's so vibrant. I'm a big fan of, obviously, D&D. There's a D&D show on this channel. I have recently seen Robbie Diamond, who did the voice, I guess, of one of the characters on Hi-Fi Rush. Actually, I think he's the main character. He's on Critical Role now, so just seeing him as a person is kind of neat, and knowing he's the voice behind one of the characters of this really great, colorful, vibrant game makes me want to play it even more. But I just feel that some of these developers need, listen, let's be honest. I don't have like thousands of subscribers, but I think it's important to show what these developers were capable of when they were together. And like I said to Avin from the Grief and Politics, we were talking about all this, on the phone. And I just, the idea, it's alchemy, it's chemistry. What these people can do when they're given time and space is pretty amazing. And we need to, applaud that and shine a spotlight on it. If these companies like Microsoft and things don't feel they're important, they still should be important. And those group of people they'll never be there. They'll never be in that same building again. If they get a job in the games industry, they will go probably to other teams, or maybe decide to work on something in their own, like, in their office or basement, whatever. But that chemistry, that alchemy of Tango Gameworks will not happen again. And I just think that it's just crazy to me what we consider success. Like, listen, again, I know I don't have a lot of subscribers and things, but I enjoy doing the pod, and I enjoy writing these notes. I enjoy sitting down, researching this stuff, and just kind of like hashing it out in my brain. And I enjoy the little interaction I get with, I just get subscribers and some likes and things like that. But so that's a new segment. I'm going to start rolling that out. I was actually out of town this whole week for work, so I wasn't able to play Tales of Kenzero Zao, but obviously I played more of it. And I really love what they're doing. Not only am I terrible at like Metroidvania platform, like Twitch platforming, that like amazing movement. Like some of I try not to read a lot of reviews, but obviously I listen to a lot of podcasts. So there's a little talk of like, oh, do you like it? Do you not like it? All the like initial impressions or just like surface impressions have been like, well, this isn't as deep as other Metroidvania platformers. Tales of Kenzero Zao was like my first platformer. It doesn't seem that dramatic. There isn't all this stuff, and I'm actually great with that because, again, I'm bad at Metroidvanias, and I'm bad at like the Twitch type platforming. So if you tell me, hey, we're going to take away some of these tools in your toolbox, but we're going to tell an amazing story about loss and grief, something that touches you, and this stuff is good, and what I played of the game so far, again, I don't really review combat, but it's good, it feels reactive, it makes me want to play it. There's been other games that I won't beat a dead horse, but I mentioned several times on this pod, kind of get in the way from you enjoying the game, where you're just like, I feel like I'm fighting the controls, and I can't make it through. Tales of Kenzero Zao is 180 degrees. It feels responsive. It makes me want to push through. I'm doing some of the secrets. I think I'm going to do maybe another segment, maybe on Sundays, where I get on Twitch and I stream maybe games I'm trying to platinum or something like that. So all this stuff is coming down the hopper. In Memoriam, it's going to be sporadic. When these studio closures happen, I'm writing a list and I'm trying to come up with an internal schedule. I used to like tell you guys, hey, this is what's coming up. But, life gets in the way, and I don't want to be a liar. So I just have these background lists, and as I can, I will try to at least play or beat these games, and I'll, roll credits on them, and I'll disclose that, like I've done in my reviews, like How to Grief, that How to Grieve, that game I played, it was like a French game with tiles that you move. Like, it crashed at the end. So I was like, hey, I was going to review this game today, but I had a crash where I couldn't move tiles, and the whole game is based off moving tiles. It didn't work, so I had to watch the last 3 minutes, or it was the last 10 minutes on YouTube to just see the end of the game. So I'll do stuff like that where I disclose that. But in Memoriam, I definitely, maybe I'll give like a little history thing of the studio, talk a little bit about their founding and stuff, and then I'll get on to the last thing that they did. I think I'll do that. So I'm taking notes. I don't know which game of this list is going to be first. Like I said, there's been several closures. Unfortunately, I have some games to pick from. I have a good list. But I will be rolling that out in the next few weeks. So you'll see it rolled into the same, reviews that I've been doing. And I'm hoping, again, like I said, I don't like to tell all my plans, but I am hoping that I will move away from early impressions, because I think the totality of the game is more important than hey, I played an hour of this game, it's good. I like the full, hey, I was able to sit back after I was done completing it and finish it. So I'm hoping to move away from that. This has been mostly a light, chill episode this week. Again, I just want to also say I'm so sorry to the people that were affected by the closures. I hope that you're able to somehow land on your feet. I hope you have a support system of family and friends around you. I hope financially that you are able to pull through. And if you're able to, I would say, I say this all the time, or at least in some episodes, if you can go seek somebody and talk out your feelings with a licensed therapist, go do that. I'm sure, unfortunately, there's therapists that kind of specialize in this kind of grief of, hey, this thing that I poured all my passion into, I got fired. What do I do now? How do I redirect my passion into something that I care about in life? So, again, my heart goes out to Roll7, to Tango Gameworks, to Intercept Games that I just said from Kerbal Space Program. By the way, Kerbal Space Program is one that has been around. They had one. This is Kerbal Space Program 2. Is that my kind of game? No, but every time I see footage online of Kerbal Space Program, I just start laughing. Like, what is going on? So my heart goes out to everybody that's been affected by the studio closures. And I hope you're able to channel your passion. You're able to obviously financially survive and support your family, community, who be it, and then you're able to point your passion in another direction and be fulfilled, because that's the big thing. If you are giving all your energy into this thing, like Hi-Fi Rush, like, man, this is really fun, this rhythm action game. Oh, I can't wait for this to come out. Oh, it'd be great. Maybe if we get able to do a second one, we could do X or Y. And then next day it's like, hey, turn in your keys, pack up your desk, and get out. Like, that's devastating. Where you hopefully, again, you're able to land on your feet. So, again, I'll be doing in Memoriam kind of reviews of things where I sprinkle them in, where I highlight the last game that some of these closed studios have produced. I might beat them. I might just play them. But, I'm excited for that because, it's sad, but again, I think some of these games being award-winning, don't forget, basically, is the thing. Is I don't want you to forget these people and what they've done. So I think that's it this week. Everybody have a good week, and I will talk to everybody again next week.